What is up, guys? Comrade Leonidas here, and today we're going to be redoing the Civilization 6 Leader Strategy Guide. Now, it's not really a redo, more of an update, because since the winter update and Poland being released, it's really changed the game a lot. There's a lot of new things that have been buffed and debuffed. So, why don't we just get right into it? So, I rate my civs from 1 to 5, 5 being the worst and 1 being the best. Now, to be a 1, you normally have to have at least one leader bonus that is just so good that it feels like it's just unfair. Or it needs to have so many civilization bonuses that it makes it a 1, such as England and America, which are just buffed. Okay, so let's start with France and Catherine de' Medici. Catherine's fine squadron. It's good when you're playing a cultural game, a religious game, basically every game except for a domination game. When you're doing domination, having that diplomatic visibility won't be good, because if you're at war, it's always going to be top secret, like you're never going to be able to see anything. The Grand Tour is nice because you get that 20% production towards medieval Renaissance and the industrial era wonders, and the tourism from every wonder is doubled, and that's really nice to have, especially when China and Egypt get those early wonders. The Garde Imperiale, it's a French unique unit. It's industrial era, and it's got 10% combat strength when it's on your capital's continent, and you get great general points for killing units. That's not as good, but I like the great general points. I don't see how that helps at all. Like, France doesn't really go military at all, so the Garde Imperiale, I think, would be more of a defensive unit. I don't see France ever saying, "Hey, I'm going to go to war with you," like actually prepared for a war. That just sounds crazy. And the Chateau is the unique improvement of France, and you get that 1 culture and then 2 culture if you're next to a wonder, and 1 culture next to a legendary source. And it can only be built against or adjacent to rivers. I like this a lot because you get a good amount of culture. But then again, Gilgamesh's unique improvement is way better. It has the same amount of culture, but you actually get science, and then you can get gold, I believe. So I'm going to rate Catherine a 3 because she's well balanced. She's just not there anymore. Now with the new update, it's just the Chateau used to give so much more. I believe it used to give 2 culture right off the bat, and then it would give you faith if that's still a wonder. Cleopatra of Egypt, the Mediterranean's bride. Your trade routes to other civilizations provide +4 gold for Egypt, and other civilization trade routes to Egypt provide 2 gold for Egypt and 2 food for them. That's nice because it's really good for your trade routes. Not a lot of trade routes start in the beginning of the game and immediately get 4 gold, so that's a huge bonus. And the Itiru Egypt bonus is nice because you get 50% production towards districts and wonders next to rivers, and floodplains do not block the placement of wonders and districts. Now that second part doesn't do a lot, but the first part does a good amount because Egypt almost always starts next to a river. Like, there's a few civs that don't really start next to rivers, and it's weird. But Egypt, 95% of the time, will spawn next to a river. The Marianu Chariot Archer, I don't think it does enough because it replaces the heavy chariot, but it upgrades to a crossbowman. Why? It's confusing. I'd rather have a heavy chariot and not have an archer. Like, what's the deal here? Why are you jipping me on this? Come on, Fire Axis. And then the Sphinx is really nice because that +1 faith and +1 culture, but then you get an extra faith next to a wonder. But they can't be adjacent to each other. That's the only problem. Like, you can't have 2 Sphinxes next to each other. So there's a max of about 3 Sphinxes on a wonder. So it's really nice if you have a wonder in the middle, 3 sphinxes around that, and then 3 wonders around that. Just think, it just doubles so much. It's very nice. I would rate Cleopatra a 3 as well, mainly because her unit is not good. And then half of the Ateru doesn't really do anything. Like, that doesn't really stop anything. And then the Sphinx it's just nerfed a little bit because it doesn't have that floodplains. Sorry, not because it has that floodplains, because of the adjacency situation. Frederick Barbarossa, I'm going to start off. He's gonna be either a 1 or 2. And the only reason I would lower him from a 1 to a 2 is because the Hansa district and the U-boat. But we'll get there. So the Holy Roman Emperor, you get that additional military policy slot. That's basically the bonus. Plus 7 combat strength for city-state wars doesn't work. They're garbage, no matter what, even with the winter update. The Free Imperial Cities is nice because that actually levels out what happened in the winter update. Now, in the winter update, your unique district actually required population. Before the winter update, you could build your unique district no matter what population you had. It was free. But now with the winter update, that got nerfed to where it's a regular population. Because, I mean, it does seem a little unfair that Gandhi and Gilgamesh, Harold Hardrada, Hojo, Takamone, like, they didn't have any unique districts, so they couldn't do that. But then again, a few of them did have specialty building certain districts. But so the U-boat, it still doesn't do anything. It's late, and it doesn't really help out. And the Hansa, again, is a great district, but because it got nerfed a little bit, I'm gonna have to rate him. Actually, I'm gonna keep him at a 1. I'm keeping him at a 1. The U-boat is really the only thing that doesn't provide a lot, because everything else still does good. The Free Imperial Cities actually does a lot more now since the unique districts have been nerfed. Moving on to Gandhi, the Satyagraha, the +5 faith for each civilization, including India, they have met that has founded a religion and is not currently at war. Opposing civilizations get double unhappiness and double weariness fighting against Gandhi. That's really nice, especially if you're building up a huge army and somebody's like trying to sneak attack you. Like, they're automatically, they start with war weariness. It's not even fair. The Dharma doesn't really do a lot. I wish it did a little more, but it doesn't, because everybody gets follower beliefs, but the follower beliefs aren't that good. And the Varu is the most OP unit up into the classical age. It replaces the horsemen, and the adjacent enemy units receive -5 combat strength. That's so good, because this thing, you cannot defeat it very easily unless there's a choke point, or you just have tons of archers. I've started a few India games to where if I'm neighboring to India, I just produce archers like crazy. It's just not fair. The Stepwell, it doesn't do a lot, but you get that 1 food and 1 housing and 1 faith, and that's the holy sites, and 1 extra food if adjacent to a farm. But they can't be built on hills, and they can't be built adjacent. Again, just like how I said with Cleopatra's Sphinxes, just build farms and put a holy site in the middle, put 3 stepwells, 3 farms, and then just keep replicating that. That I've seen a lot of results out of that. I'm gonna rate Gandhi at a 2, because the Varu is just, it's so OP, and the Stepwell is OP, and that basically is the only reason. And it's just play the winter update and play against Gandhi. You will understand me. Gilgamesh, automatically going to be rated a 4, and here's why. The epic quest does practically nothing unless you're in single player. Practically nothing unless you're in single player. Adventures of Enkidu doesn't really do anything, because especially if you're in single player. If you're in multiplayer, this will actually do a little bit, but not a lot, because not many people go to war, not many people at least get allies and then go to war. People normally go to war and then get allies in the Civilization 6 multiplayer online that I've seen. The war card is still good, and the ziggurat is still good. So, again, he's a 4. The war card just doesn't do enough. The ziggurat doesn't do enough. He's just throwing away two bonuses for Sumeria and Gilgamesh. Gorgo. Gorgo is rated a 1 along with Frederick Barbarossa of Germany, and I'll tell you why. It's because Plato's Republic, the Hoplite, the Acropolis, and Thermopylae are really good. Thermopylae doesn't do a lot, but as Gorgo, you will see a good amount of results from that. Especially with the Hoplites, you can build an army of Hoplites, and they're all adjacent to each other, and it just does amazing. And then the Plato's Republic, you get an extra wild card. That's good. The Acropolis just boosts your culture, which helps with Plato's Republic, especially if you move on to democracy or fascism or communism. So again, rated a 1. Harold Hardrada, he's automatically going to be rated a 3 unless you're playing on island plates. If you're playing on island plates, he's rated a 1 because everything is just about the ocean and coastal rating. The Thunderbolt of the North, you get coastal rating for all naval melees. That includes your Viking longship that you get in the ancient era. That replaces the galley. It's just, he's too good with ocean to where if it was Pangea, he's dead almost immediately. I've had an island plates and a Pangea where he has shown up, and there's just constant differences in the way the AI acts on the situations, to where in Pangea he starts looking for the city-state islands and tries to conquer them, and then tries to basically sell us his land by vacating all his troops. But then on the island plates, he stays on one island plate and then just raids us one at a time. Again, he's going to get rated a 3, but if you're playing on a huge coastal map with lots of ocean, he's definitely a 1. Hojo Takamone, also rated a 3. And here's why. It's because of the samurai not getting combat penalties from being damaged, the Meiji Restoration, and Divine Wind. Divine Wind, not because of the combat bonuses, but because the Holy Site, Theater Square, and Encampment Districts build time is cut in half. That's amazing. It's still the same, but it's amazing. The Electronics Factory got nerfed, and I'll tell you why. It's because cities now, because they only take the highest amount of production like that they can reach, it's his thing is nerfed now, so it doesn't work anymore. Like, it's a bug maybe, but they need to fix it. They don't understand. And the Meiji Restoration, because all districts receive an additional standard adjacency bonus for being next to another district. So again, he's a 3. Jedwiga of Poland. Okay, this is her first time being in my Civilization 6 strategy guide. So here's the deal. She's rated a 1, and here's why. The Sukianites, the replacement for the market building. Huge bonuses. The Winged Hussar, arguably one of the best units, rivaling the Cossack. Golden Liberty, which is the culture bomb, and the Lithuanian Union. This is just huge culture, huge gold, huge religion civ. And they do a good job at that. And if you want to see that in action, go watch my Poland Let's Play. It shows the results so far. Montezuma, rated a 3. Here is why. Gifts for Zlatoani, it's not bad, but it's not good. Legend of the Five Sons, amazing. Eagle Warrior, amazing. Tlachtli, amazing. It's because the gifts Zlatoani and the Tlachtli. See, it's an entertainment building, and you get 2 amenity. Or, sorry, you don't get 2 amenity, you get 1 amenity, but later on you'll get 2 as you advance through the civic tree. But that 2 faith in the Great General Point, it's confusing. Like, why do you have that 2 faith? Like, the 2 faith basically does nothing, because by the time you have the Tlachtli built, everybody's starting to get their religion. Like, everybody's starting. I think there's about 1 or 2 prophets normally by the time you get that. So starting the faith game there doesn't really help you at all. But that Great General Point is very nice because it is a domination civ. It's just, it doesn't have anything else other than domination. Mvemba and Nzinga rated a 1. Actually, no, not a 1, a 2. And it's because of the religious convert ability. Because Mvemba and Nzinga doesn't have a religion, he automatically disables himself from winning a religious victory. But instead, he ends up helping people with the religious victory because he gets apostles each time he finishes a Mabanza or a theater district. And it just helps the other civ. So you're actually losing. Otherwise, he's amazing. If there's no religion in the game, rated a 1. Because in the Nikisi, the Nagam Mvemba, and the Mabanza, they're just godlike. They help so much in culture. The Mabanza, just because you get that so early, you don't have to focus on, oh, should I settle next to the river? No, you don't need to, because you have the Mabanza, and it's amazing. The Nagam Mvemba, it's basically a scout, but it's got the strength of a swordsman, because when it goes through the woods and jungles, it has the sight and can see through them. That's awesome. Rated a 2 because of the religious convert. Pedro II, I'm rating Pedro a 4. This is because the Minas Gerais doesn't do anything. Again, it's a modern era unit that replaces the battleship. Nobody ever lasts that long as Pedro. And if they do, they're so close to a culture victory. Street Carnival, very nice. That's honestly the best thing about Pedro II and Brazil. Magnanimous, that's the second best thing. Amazon doesn't do anything because half the time you end up chopping down your rainforests. I mean, just think about it. Pericles, rated a 3, and here's why. It's because of that plus 5% culture per city-state you're suzerain of. Not a lot of people can say, hey, I'm benefiting really good from that because, I have so many city-states under my control. No. All the civs go for city-states, and they all seem to go for 1 or 2. And because of that, there's, once you decide, oh, I'm safe with this city-state, I'm gonna go work on another one, they already have 17 on that city, on a different city-state that you're going after. It doesn't work. It's not very nice. But otherwise, everything else is good. That's just why he's a 3. And I know it's a drastic change from Gorgo of Greece, but it's because of that huge change. Moving on to Peter of Russia. The Grand Embassy, it's not the best, but it's good, especially if you focus on your military and expanding more than science and culture. So that's pretty nice. But Mother Russia is really a huge thing. Mother Russia, the Cossack, and the Lavra. Lavra is really nice because it's your unique district and it replaces the holy site. It's nice, but your city grows by 1 tile each time you spend a great person in that city with the Lavra. That's really cool because I've had a lot of culture games as Peter, and you get so many great people that your borders just grow like crazy. Plus, with the Mother Russia, you automatically start each city with an extra 9 tiles. The Cossack is arguably one of the strongest units in the game, and it's because in the industrial era, you don't get a lot of units that are stronger than the cavalry, have plus 5 combat strength when fighting in or near Russia, and can move after attacking. There's not a lot. I mean, the Mamluk does that. It's medieval, and it heals afterwards, but it doesn't get that plus 5 combat strength. And I think it's actually the same strength as a knight, too, so just take that. Peter's a 1, especially because so many advanced players use him. It's just amazing. I'm one of those people that loves Peter the Great. Philip II of Spain, He's rated a 2, and it's because of the Treasure Fleet, Conquistador mission, and an El Escorial. It's amazing, just he focuses so much on faith that he seems lacking in other areas that the Treasure Fleet tries to pick up in, but doesn't pick up enough. I'm leaving it there. He's a 2. I'm not going through him again, because in the last video I went through him, and somebody did try to tell me that no, he is the best civ in the game, and that's so arguable. Like, this is all based off of bias and results seen in game. You can't argue with fact. Qin Shi Huang of China, the first emperor, is really nice because you get that additional charge for your builders, and they can use 50% of the. They could use one of their charges for 15% of the original wonder cost, which is really nice. The dynastic circle doesn't do anything. You just get 10% extra for your Rigas and inspirations. That doesn't do a lot. Crouching Tiger is nice. It's not good enough, but it's nice when you pair it with the Great Wall. If you can get the Great Wall set up, it ends up working for you, because the Great Wall plus the Crouching Tigers along the Great Wall, first you get a Steam achievement, which is really nice, and then the Crouching Tigers with the defense of the Great Wall are pretty invulnerable unless you can get catapults and archers and crossbowmen set up. So I'm going to rate him a 3, mainly because the Dynastic Circle doesn't do anything, and Crouching Tigers are pretty vulnerable. Otherwise, he's really good. Saladin of Arabia. The Righteousness of Faith is really nice because anybody can purchase your worship building, and I really like that. But it's for like 1/10 of the faith cost, and that's awesome. And it automatically comes back and gives you science, faith, and culture towards your Arabian cities. The Last Prophet is good, especially if you're not focusing on religion a huge amount. Like, if you're focusing on science and culture a little bit more than faith, it's fine, because you have the Last Prophet to, as a plan B. It's a backup. The Mamluk is really nice because it's strong enough to where 2 of them can take a city if the city doesn't have medieval walls. If it has ancient walls, the Mamluk, 2 Mamluks can do it. I've seen it happen before, and it's happened to me before, and I hate it because they're just really OP. I don't know if they've been updated a little bit in the winter update. It would be nice if they would, but I doubt it. And the Madrasa is the unique building to Arabia, and you get bonus faith equal to the adjacency bonus of the campus district. That's nice because Arabia, again, is focused on faith, culture, and science. It's not a huge domination victory, and it's not a huge wait till the end of time victory either. The score victory, I guess. So I would rate Arabia a 2. I really like Arabia. I think it's very good. The only downside is the Madrasa. It doesn't do a super ton, but I like it. It does a good amount. Teddy Roosevelt. Again, Teddy Roosevelt and Victoria of England, those have to be a tier 1 civ, and this is why. It's because, look at that. There's not one. Oh, that's weird. It doesn't do that anymore. Okay, so I guess with the winter update, you also can't click the name and then go off to the side. Maybe if I yeah, there we go. Okay, so with Teddy Roosevelt, he has 4 things for America. Or sorry, not 4 things, but 4 leader bonuses for America. He has his leader thing, but because of that, part of it is he gets the Rough Rider, which is a second unique unit. Just think about the things you could do with an extra unit, especially if one of them's one of the only air units in the game. The P-51 Mustang is the only unique air unit. Think about that for a minute. He just has to be a tier 1. Tomyris of Scythia. The Kurgan's really nice. Again, I like that. Oh, seems like with the winter update, they did update her face a little bit, which is weird. She used to have, like, freckles and stuff, and her eyebrows were a little more... Maybe I'm just, like, the only one noticing it. Maybe I don't know. Let's get back to things. So, the Socklehorse Archers are OP. Kurgan's OP. People's Step is OP. And the Killer Cyrus is OP. Kurgan, not OP enough. I rate it a 3. And it's just because the Kurgan's not OP enough. Like some of the other unique improvements. Getting down to the last two, Trajan of Rome. He is a rank 2, and it's because the Legion doesn't do enough. I like it. It replaces a swordsman. It does good. But I've seen it get overwhelmed by the Varu. I've seen it get overwhelmed by war carts. I mean, war carts, people. Those are just, that's a huge region. And then another one is that the Trajan's Column. It says it almost always starts with a monument building. No, it is always a monument building. It never has anything else other than a monument building. Again, rated A2. Victoria of England is our last on the list, and she's one of those who has to be rated A1, and this is why. Look at this list. It's the only one with a scroll-down bar, people. The British Museum, great culture. Redcoat, great defense. Sea Dog, great navy. Royal Navy Dockyard, great. Even internally, the gold from it is amazing for your Civ. And then, every city she gets on a different continent, other than the home continent, gets free melee unit. And then it changes to a red coat when the military science technology is researched. That's when they get the red coat, and it is also when red coats start spawning. I believe those are the only units that spawn afterwards on colonies on different continents. So, this has been Kamerad Leonidas' Civilization 6 Winter Update Strategy Guide to Leaders and Civs. Please leave a like if you liked the video, and hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed it and wish to see more. This has been Kamerad Leonidas. Thank you, and